Sam, how you doing?
Doing good, how are you?
So what's the feeling amongst the team right now on Monday morning coming off a disappointing loss? You got, huge home game coming up this Saturday, but where would you say the team is right now just in your mindset?
Obviously disappointed with what happened on Saturday, but, that's what we use Sunday for. We use that to come in and watch film, how Coach said, put it behind us. I just think the team's ready to play the next game, and, especially after a disappointing loss, it's always like, in your mind, you're like, I just want to get back on the field, just get that out of my mind.
Sam, you guys, obviously you're one of the leaders of the team. Is there anything different message you want to share with the guys after something like this, or how do you kind of get them maybe to reboot a little bit when you guys go into this week?
Honestly, I think our team is doing a really good job of doing what I would want them to do, and that's just focus on the next thing. Right after we all knew it was disappointing. We didn't play good on either side of the ball, and it was disappointing as a team when we know how we can play. And so I think the guys are doing a really good job of they're coming in focused, they're ready to watch film, put in all the work to come out on Saturday with a win.
As you're getting set up to bounce back, Sam, looking at Cincinnati's defensive front, you heard me ask Coach about it, this possibly being the toughest challenge for your position group in particular. You sign off as well. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, no, they're a really good group of guys. They do a really good job. Coach said it, they lead the nation in sacks and TFLs, and it's going to be a great challenge for our O-line, and I know all the guys. We want to prove ourselves and want to prove that we're as good of an offensive line as we think we are. And so I know we're looking forward to that challenge, and I think they have a really good group of guys.
Is there any extra pepper there you'd be performing as an offensive lineman, trying to maybe impress a coach on the other side and Jordan Johnson over there?
I always want to make sure that the guys who are here before us still, are impressed with our play. I love Jordan, but honestly, as long as we come out of the win, he can think whatever he wants.
Considering the team will go into this game with one conference loss, not a lot of margin for error now. Do you feel like this is a must-win Saturday, a homecoming game in Cincinnati?
Not to get into coach talk, but my coach, Coach Han, he always tells us he's, the most important game is the next game, right? But in the grand scheme of things, the things we want to do, we know we have to win out, and Cincinnati is one of the teams to beat in our conference, and that's just kind of the mindset we have as a team, and going into Saturday, I think that's how everyone's feeling is, we need to come out with a win, any means necessary kind of thing.
Either from what you've seen of them on film about this season or last year, your recollections, what makes that defensive front so tough to slow down?
I just think they play really hard, and like Coach said, they play sound defense. There's not a lot of guys who do their own things. They do what they're coached to do, which makes them be very successful, and you saw that from last year to this year, and especially with how many guys they did lose on defense, to not really have a drop off like they haven't had this year, speaks volumes to who they have as players, and so like Coach said, we got to earn everything, and it's going to be a lot of it's going to depend on our O-line play.
Sam, you've been around John Rice for a while now. What have you seen from him and how he's been able to handle these kind of situations, especially, obviously, East Carolina came with a lot of pressure. You've seen that before. So how has he been able to handle that, even off the field, in the locker room with you guys?
Coach mentioned he's a competitor, and, especially a guy who's coming back to playing the QB position after not playing it for so long. He's done a really good job of just, getting back in the groove of things. And, I know as a QB, more than any other position, you have to be able to block out the noise and, what everyone else thinks, because everyone has the best idea. But he's done a really good job of that, and he puts a lot of pressure on himself, and he wants to be great, and that's just, that's the kind of guy he is off the field. He's ready to go back to work, and I already know he's watching film right now. So,
Coach Welton talked about anything maybe match the energy of ECU. What do you think that means, and why do you think that is?
I just think ECU, at least, they did a really good job versus us. To their credit, we won a lot of games versus them, and I know it's probably one of those things where they were looking forward to that game, and they did a really good job in what they did, and probably that's what he means by they were at home. It was a big game, and we just didn't come out with the same intensity that they might have.
I didn't say it was team-wide, but the fact that you had really two dominating wins coming off, could that have lulled some players into complacency, thinking they could just show up and beat these guys?
Honestly, I don't think that's what it was. You know, it's tough to say, especially after the Temple game and then the SMU game. It's one of those things where you would hope that's not what happened, but I really don't think that's what happened. I really just feel like we just didn't play good, just because everything bad that could have happened to an offense happened that night, and everything good for them could have happened. So not to take anything away from what they did, but that's just what happened.
When you look back on the ECU game, what didn't go right for the offensive line?
Well, O-line, I think we harped on certain defenses, and they played a lot of certain defenses, and maybe there were some things that like when it came to communication, it was hard for us to ID stuff because of things that we have to fix internally, and I feel like that was probably more the problem, and I hate to say it's communication, but it mostly lies on communication, and there were some times where like we let up blocks that shouldn't have happened, like TFLs or something like that shouldn't have happened. It was just mistakes, but those mistakes cost you the game.
Should communication still be an issue 7 games in amongst the line?
It shouldn't, but it's also one of those things where it's like it's different week to week, right? You prep for an opponent all week, and you prep for this one thing that you think they're going to do, and they might not come out and do it. So you kind of just have to follow your base rules and as an offensive lineman. And it shouldn't be a problem, but you also will always have challenges regardless.
As you get set to prepare for Cincinnati, you guys had a lot of self-inflicted wounds in the game. Obviously, you're watching film, getting tendencies from Cincinnati as you would to prepare. But when a lot of the wounds are self-inflicted, when you're trying to evaluate what you can fix, is that a little bit more difficult to find something when it's just, hey, maybe if this didn't happen this way, if some of these bad things didn't happen, we would have been fine. Is it tougher to prepare or find something to fix? Or
no, I mean, going the film, I think it's actually a lot of football players are their own worst critics, right? And especially in our group, in our unit of O-line and the offense in general, that's pretty much how it is. And so I think it's actually easier for us to go in and look at ourselves and see, hey, this is where we need to fix, and holding each other accountable too. I mean, I think that's something that we do as a good as an offense is, everyone knows, like, we watch film, we watch practice every day together. We're trying to hold each other accountable because everyone wants to play their best for the guy next to them. And so I think we do a good job of doing that.
Sam, you've been around, obviously, with Cincinnati, and UCF and Cincinnati both have had pretty strong winning programs. Is there a rivalry between these two programs, especially now you guys are going off to the Big 12? I mean,
I would say so. I mean, for me personally, that's just how I view it. And when you have two really good programs like that, there's always going to be great games. And that's how my mindset is a rivalry game. And I'm excited to play.
Being that you think it's a rivalry game, I mean, this is a team. I mean, UCF, you were here the early years that you were running the American. Cincinnati's kind of taking that back from UCF. So you got an opportunity this week. You're at home. Like, it's going to be a night mood, maybe with some cool jersey. How amped up? I mean, I know everyone's kind of slow thinking about the ECU. You got to put it behind you. But how amped up do you think everyone's going to be to get an opportunity to knock those guys off?
Well, I'll definitely say they'll need to match our energy, right, this Saturday, and that's not going to be a problem for us. And I already know, like I said earlier, you want to be able to play the next game as fast as possible, and that's just kind of what's on my mind, and we're ready to get after it this week and get after it on Saturday.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sam.